In this lesson, we'll discuss the custom camera, which is a camera you can place anywhere in your map if you would like a view different from your game camera. Some common uses for this are to get wider views of big jumps or to get a better look at memorable moments. There are a lot of options in the custom camera, so let's jump right in. First, we will place a custom camera. Bring up the New Objects menu, select the Common Category, Subcategory Game, and from there we can select the custom camera. In the editor, the camera can be moved around and rotated just like any other object. It does have a few extra visualizations, however. The dotted red line represents the center of the frame. If the camera is targeted to an object, which we will cover in just a moment, then this dotted line will connect the camera to that object. The other visualization is the white dotted lines that come out and connect to a rectangle. This represents your range and field of view. Now let's check out the custom camera properties. The first options here are basic object options that we have already covered in the Advanced Object Properties lesson. The next option, Enabled, sets if the camera is on or not. With Enabled checked, when the rider enters the camera's range, the camera will activate. Unchecked, the camera will not activate. This can come in handy if you want to activate the camera based on a parameter other than the game character's position. Next we have Type. Here we have three settings that determine what happens when the camera activates. Interpolate means that the camera will adjust from the view of the game camera. With this setting, the game camera does not appear to change, it simply looks like it moves to the position of the custom camera. With the Cut setting, the camera appears to cut to the custom camera position, just like in editing a movie from one camera to another. Cut and Interpolate combines the two. As the rider enters the camera range, it'll cut to the custom camera position, but as he leaves the camera range, it will interpolate back to the game camera position. I've mentioned it a couple times already, so now let's discuss range. The basic way the camera works is that once the player enters the camera's range, that camera will activate. When the player is outside of that range, the camera is not active. So for example, if the camera is placed 25 meters from the driving line, but the range is only set to 20 meters, then the rider will never enter the camera's range and it will not activate. As I mentioned earlier, the white dotted lines coming out of the front of your camera represent its range. When the player is within the boundaries created by those lines, the camera will activate. In advanced camera settings, we have a few different options than we did with the game camera. Interpolation amount determines how much the game camera changes into your custom camera if you have it set on the interpolation type. Set it to 0 and the rider's view will stay on the game camera. A value of 100 will move the camera fully to the custom camera position. Interpolation speed determines how quickly the camera moves to the custom camera position. A value of 0 will give you a slow, smooth transition. 100 will be very quick. Next, you can choose to have the camera follow an object in the world. This can be the bike, the rider, or any other object you wish. Set the target to none and the camera is static. It will not move or rotate. Set the target to object and then choose an object in the game world with the select target option. Now your camera will stay in the spot where you placed it, but it will pan and tilt to follow the target object as that object moves throughout the world. The next four advanced settings, post effect, tint, exposure, and depth of field, are all the same as the game camera options of the same name. Finally, use as game camera speaks for itself. Check this box if you want to use the custom camera instead of the game camera as your default camera. Now, when we back out to the main properties menu, the last two options we've already covered in previous camera and object lessons.